you know what? I'll just say this. The grocery store gonna get mad at me if I complain about the carts not being returned.
Wait, what?
Like if I come on the podcast and complain about something or talk about something,
Yeah.
am I supposed to talk about no people, places, or things while I'm here?
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope you're having a really good day so far. If you are new here, my name's Taylor. I come to you from Baltimore City, Maryland, and here on my YouTube channel, I feature content that is generally focused on knitting and spinning. In this week's episode of what I call the Threadsman podcast, I'm going to share with you what I'm currently working on. I have a gorgeous cherry tree outside my window. I thought I'd shift the angle to feature. I am very, very fortunate. I feel so lucky that of all the houses on our block, we live in front of the one gorgeous pink blooming cherry tree. And right outside our window, right outside our front door, every single spring, it's just this explosion of color. And then on one random day, you'll walk outside and it's just a blanket of pink petals. It's like the universe just laid a gorgeous carpet for me to walk all over. So that will be one day in our future. Not right now, obviously. It's just bloomed like a week ago. I was looking forward to recording our video last Saturday, but life got in the way. I want to thank all of you so much for watching my previous video, if you did, because I got so much feedback on my budget talk. If you missed it, oh Lord, my mohair has made a mess of things. Have you ever gotten a knot around your other contrast color? I just might have to break this. Yes, okay. Where was I? I don't know. I have done, so I think since we last met, there was an end of month. So I last sat down in March and I had finally figured out a better approach to budgeting. And I can say with great enthusiasm that I lived within my budget much better than I did in January and February. In January and February, my intention was to spend less money, but I didn't write everything down yet. I wasn't looking at every single dollar I was spending every day. I was just kind of trusting that my motivation to spend less would work out for me. But I realized that with my attention on the concept of spending in general, I was just thinking about spending still. But since then, and prior to my last video with you all, I came to this realization that my focus has to be on saving, not spending. So with the focus on saving, I created a little spreadsheet template. I have one tab of the same template for every month of the year. Now that I'm focused on the concept of saving, and saving is my priority, regardless of what I spend my money on, I have broken out all of my income, which because of this YouTube channel, which I'm grateful for, and because of my pattern sales on Ravelry, and my full-time job, I sort of have three separate avenues of monthly income. YouTube, I don't even get paid every month here on YouTube. There's like a $100 minimum you have to reach in order to get a payout, and lately I haven't really earned that value. So this month is a good month, and I'll get the accumulation of 2 months from that. But I basically created, these little formulas in my spreadsheet where I have all of my income for the month. I have my categories of spending. So what I'll do is I will create a public document with my template for you to open up and take a look at. If you want to use it, you can make a copy of it. You can use it for yourself. If you just want to have some concept of what I'm talking about out of curiosity, you could just take a look. But I export all of my credit card data, I categorize it, I sort it by category, and I take the totals of each category, and I have a little spending section where I put all of my category totals together. And then from there, I have the total amount of money I've spent. So I have all the money coming in, all the money I've spent, and then I'm measuring my margin. Oh, also, I factor in my savings amount because savings is my priority, not spending. And I think I did really good in comparison to January and February. I have this little ring of mohair stuck around my mane collar I need to tease apart. Okay, so April we're almost halfway, not quite through April. And I think I'm doing even better than March, even with life getting in the way. So I can't remember if I've mentioned it yet because I've started and stopped and restarted and then stopped and then restarted today's video. But there's a lot going on in my family. My dad's health is very poor right now, and he was in the hospital this past weekend. And Brian and I booked a flight the next day to go see him and visit with him, and that was overwhelming. It was emotionally very taxing, and I packed my knitting, got some knitting done, but that was something that was unexpected. We did pull from our emergency fund to make that happen, which is what an emergency fund is for. And so I was not stressed about my finances or my budget, even while doing something that cost quite a bit of money, was not anticipated in the least, but it was something we were able to do because of that focus and attention on our finances this past month. It was almost like everything I don't know. It's like I set myself up for success. I don't know. It's amazing what a little bit of effort will do. It'll make your life so much easier if you put in effort every day to being stable and secure. We went to Florida for a couple days, and we came home, and it was like a dream. It's like I woke up from a nightmare when I was back in bed with my animals, and I'm just so fortunate to have good company in life to rely on to help us out. You know, with 3 cats and a dog, to just pick up and leave with very short notice, it means the world to have friends to rely on for support. So that was great. And you know, my dad, if you're wondering, he is not well. He's just struggling to sit up. He hasn't been able to walk for a while. He generally neglects his health and well-being, but he really needs a lot of support right now. And, you know, they're helping him sit up and sit in a chair, but he's very uncomfortable, and life has been really painful for him and very challenging lately, and it's very sad. As much as his actions in life have not helped his situation, he has very much ignored a lot of his own needs. It's very sad, and he doesn't deserve this. It's very, very disheartening. But I've always learned from cautionary tales. Whenever I've observed other people kind of stumble in life, I've always tried to overcorrect. Anyway, knitting is a nice distraction from all of that. It kind of just keeps my hands busy, especially when life is like really traumatic and scary. It's nice to just have something to focus on that's sort of tangible. Oh, I just dropped a stitch. I'm gonna have to rework those two. So my YouTube algorithm streaming content has changed quite a bit. Prior to my last video, it was a lot of the Ramsey show, which I talked about. And then a lot of you had great suggestions on what to watch on YouTube. Then I kind of fell into a Caleb Hammer wormhole, which is kind of similar, but more like young person focused. And I think that show made me even more cynical of my generation and just like how we approach life and money. And so I did watch quite a bit of that, but then having to go back home to Florida and visit with my family, I promptly switched my content consumption over to Dr. Ramani, who some of you might already be familiar with. She has a really good YouTube channel, and she has a lot of great interviews on podcasts, which I would, if you haven't listened to her before, if you're interested in listening to Dr. Ramani speak, I would check out some of her interviews on other podcasts, because that's where you get a really well-rounded conversation on the topic of narcissism and narcissistic abuse. And she is just, she just is a well of knowledge and resource, and her channel on YouTube has been a huge amount of comfort for me to just listen to someone tell me what I thought I knew for the longest time. So I've been listening to a lot of that. It's kind of depressing, but it helps me just sort of cope a little bit. All of the Sephora savings event videos, recommendations, hauls, try-ons, like all of the makeup content I watch a lot of has just been hitting differently, because it feels so like pointless and meaningless and unnecessary. Like I really don't need any of these things, especially like if my dad is slowly dying, makeup feels a lot less important to my life. So there's that. But I've been spending a lot of time with him on the phone. That's like all I can really do from here. I have to take care of my own life and myself. I can't stop everything for too long. And there's really not much I can do to help. So that's just very sad.
I think this is better than normal. It hits different when you're sad.
Let's talk about the knitting that I've been focused on. Obviously, I am working on the Vellichor by Andrea Mowry. I'm knitting this with fingering weight 2-ply yarn. It's called, I think it's the Bicycle Base by Stephen and Penelope. And it's at a decent price. I want to say converted to dollars, it's around $20 a skein, which is somewhat affordable in today's world. I'm also knitting with 2 strands of silk mohair held together. Right now I'm using a mauve or mauve color for the first contrast, and then I'm using in the second contrast neon yellow from Pearl Soho. And if you're ever wanting a silk mohair recommendation, I find that a lot of the indie dyers of silk mohair use generally the same base. It has a huge halo. I don't know how I'll show that off to you. It tends to shed quite a lot. The Pearl Soho silk mohair, I think it's called tussock or tussock silk, something like that, I don't know. It's a little less of a halo and it sheds a little bit less, and it's very soft, almost no scratchiness to it. It's like twice as soft as your typical indie dyed mohair. So I highly recommend the Pearl Soho silk mohair. And my favorite silk mohair of all time is the Isayar silk mohair, hands down. But the one thing I worked on the most while we traveled was the second side panel to the front portion of my Riggies cardigan. This is a design by Gudrun Johnston in her newest book. This is the one I just finished. I have to pick up and work the bottom garter rib. And then once I get the back panel knit, I think the front and the back will be knit together. And these side stitches that are still live will be continued along the sleeve. So that's exciting. I can't wait to have that bottom section knit. I'll probably work on that later on today or tomorrow, hopefully before Monday, I would like to have the next panel of this piece at least cast down and started, because once I have the rough part over with, it's just simple knitting from there. So this was a huge comfort knit while visiting my dad in the hospital and just sitting on the airplane. I think on the I don't remember when, but it was the quiet moments where this was the more appropriate project, not so much while in the hospital, because I do have to look at what I'm doing quite a bit more with the textured stitches and the yarn management, as you can tell. So there's that. It's funny, I have found my knitting to be so comforting through this trying time that I almost cherish these pieces as a kind of moment in time. Like, I don't think I'll forget that I was working on this when I was with my dad through his illness. But anything else that sort of came in from the outside, like any sort of trinkets or foods that I picked up at that time, I feel like I don't want to look at those again. I don't want to eat them again. I just want to like move past it, and I don't know, my knitting has just been very comforting to me. I feel like it's something I cherish. So that's been comforting. My garden has also been a happy distraction from the turmoil of existence. And I did record a garden tour earlier this morning, so I might just pause here to insert that.
Well, it's windy. Hello everyone, how are you today? Hope you're having a really good day. Welcome to this week's garden tour. We have Orange Tabby sunbathing on the styrofoam shelter. And my grass has gotten very long. So I'm going to do the grass today. And I'm going to finish properly prepping my raspberries. I did relocate. We had a ton of raspberries growing behind the bird bath here, just behind there, where they wouldn't really have any room to grow up. And I successfully transplanted those right into this blank spot. I have some odd plants coming up. I don't know if they're weeds or something I planted intentionally. I'm thinking about just letting them grow, but I don't know what they are. 1, 2, I don't know what that is either. It's probably a weed. I really don't know. I got a little lemon balm back there. I love a surprise lemon balm. Anyway, I have forgotten to properly secure this side. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna clip all of the old dead parts that didn't quite make it through winter. You can see my peach tree is leafing out and I'm getting a little bit of leaf curl. So I picked off as much of that as I could this morning, and I'll probably go back in when I'm done with everything else out here. But my pink echinacea that I propagated from a large plant that was right around there, I successfully propagated like 10 extra plants. I have even more out front. And my columbine is like really doing well. This one is kind of struggling to function. I think it's gonna bounce back, but there's no telling. This is a white echinacea here, another one there. All my daffodil flowers are done. I have a random strawberry plant here. I think another one right there too. I don't know if that will survive, but the rain has knocked down all the daffodils. And looks like my yarrow survived the daffodil invasion. And underneath there are some heuchera that are really growing up nice and big. I did pull out the blackberry. The blackberry is no longer against this fence. I didn't really know how blackberries grew when I planted them there. I thought they were more similar to raspberries. Raspberries will grow shoots like feet away from where you plant them. But the blackberries, they kind of grow from the same base. So I went ahead and dug it up, put the main branch right at the center, and it's still putting on new growth. I think it's gonna survive. It has quite a few branches. I'll talk about that mess in a minute, but I also clipped other parts of it and I stuck those in the ground to get extra plants to grow up this trellis. And a few of them took. So this one looks like it'll do fine. This one, I think this is dead. Might as well just yank that out. This one, actually, you know what? I might regret that, but whatever. This one, I feel like maybe just for symmetry's sake, I might pull this one out too. I don't think that one is gonna make it. These have a little bit of young growth that might take. It's uncertain. It looks like all of my hyacinths, I've never really let my hyacinths put out seed pods, but it looks like they're going to seed, which is kind of exciting. Maybe I could start hyacinths from seed. I've never heard of that, honestly. All of my hostas are coming up. Those ones are really quick to, windy, quick to come up. These ones are in a much sunnier spot than last year because I did pull up that forsythia. I put these tomato cages out because I'm going to do some cherry tomatoes in the backyard until I get some shrubs in place. That I have some bigger hostas that are just finally coming up out of the ground. They're nice and big, beautiful plants. And that will fill in that space there. I'm going to clean up the yard. Oh my gosh! I just noticed for the first time we're going to get figs this year. Holy smokes. I can't wait to tell Brian. That's exciting. I think I don't know if figs need extra room to grow. Maybe that will work better. I might clip that little branch there and stick it in the ground with the rest of them. Not sure if they took, but anyway. I'm going to clean up the alley today, pick up all the trash. Maybe leaf blow it, I don't know. Keep it nice and fresh for spring. I wonder what these are growing for my compost. Do you know what this is? Could it be a potato? We don't really throw out much potato parts, but it could be a potato. I don't know what that is. I would love to know before I flip my compost bin. I might just not flip it for a while to see if I can get something out of this situation. But you can see I have a lot of forsythia to shred. I'm gonna get my stick shredder out and shred those sticks. They're really hard to cut. They're like a really firm, stiff wood. So hopefully I can get through that. I'll probably have a big chunk of it left. I'll just keep in the compost pile for a long while. It's not uncommon for me to just keep a chunk of wood like that in there for a few years. But we have all kinds of stuff in this corner. Some sweet woodruff. This is a mint. I really like to keep a mint by the compost pile. There's some invasive weeds and have a few, what do you call this? Oh, I forget. It has a funny name, I think. I don't know. But these hostas are just, they sprung up overnight. My hellebores are flowering again. Some fresh flowers. I don't know if I'm gonna get any seeds from this plant. My front yard plants are full of seeds. So I'm gonna try to plant, oh, you see that? Those are what the seed pods look like. I don't know when they mature, if they fall off before you know it, or if you can gather them easily, but I'm excited to keep these and try to plant more hellebores from seed because I would love to grow dozens of hellebores. I would have them everywhere if I could. I would give them to everyone I know if I had that opportunity. I hope I can do that. I didn't even see these bleeding hearts were in bloom. Are these not the prettiest flowers? This is almost total shade. It's against a fence under a tree in an urban environment. And they're just some of the most gorgeous flowers. So pretty. Very delicate plant though. They will break and collapse and fall apart before summer if you're not careful. This heuchera really came back strong. I was a little worried about it. I didn't think it might survive over winter, but of course it was just tucked underneath a little blanket of leaves. This is an evergreen variety of, what do they call it? I want to say Jacob's Ladder, and that's not the name. It's something like that. Something with a name in it, I think. But it looks like there's a bunch of new growth springing from the ground, which is kind of exciting because the old leaves look a little haggard. No flowers yet from this plant. I have more lemon balm behind the fence there. I do like to let that weed persist throughout the yard because Shippy loves to chew on it when her tummy is upset. This heuchera is not doing quite as well as the one over there. That one's like twice as big. But this little shady garden is really filling out nice. Have a random foxglove here. Another one there. Some iris. I don't know if that's a perfect spot for those. Just, you know, I kind of pop a little bit of this and that everywhere. See where it will thrive the most. I have oregano. Here is the fig tree. Fig tree? No. Pawpaw tree. The flowers are opening. I will never ever get them to focus on that. Maybe if I put my hand in here. Nope. I think we're gonna get some pawpaws this year. That is really exciting. Well, the yard's a mess. I'm gonna get going on this. Also, my blueberries. Look at how many flowers there are. We're gonna get more blueberries than ever off this plant alone. I have another foxglove right there, as you can see. And my rose bush is just an explosion of new growth. I do want to fertilize it though, because I feel like it could benefit from that. The lilacs are almost open. I don't get a lot of fragrance from them yet. I feel like they're not quite open enough. But these are my planters. And I need something to put into this container. This is a new container for the year. My rosemary survived. My strawberries are already putting out blooms and it will grow some fruits. This is a mint and creeping Jenny combo. I don't know what kind of perennial this is because I never labeled my plants that year. If you can recognize what kind of flower this might be, I know it's some sort of perennial flower. These I think are a Naked Lady variety. This is a random snowdrop that got involved in this situation. But this creeping Jenny, I'm going to put this out in the front yard because I have no use for it here. It came out of this container and took over. This container is sort of my dumping ground for anything I'm not sure to survive. But this box is falling apart. These boxes were not cheap, but very cheaply made. And I don't know that I've had them more than 2 years, but they're the perfect size and shape for this area. I'm gonna cut back all the old stuff on that heuchera there. Maybe find a little bit more room for this leaning Alberta spruce. I do need a container for this, or a plant for this container also. I should have probably trimmed this rose bush back more aggressively. Perhaps in the fall, because it leafed out before I knew it. I didn't want to cut all the growth back. I did kind of experiment doing that with this, and I just think I just waited too long to give it a good shape up. It's kind of lanky and weak looking. My stinging nettles really need to be harvested, otherwise they're useless. I'll probably just toss them. I have not found a use for stinging nettles. If anything, I might I might clip the young leaves, toss them in a bowl, rinse them real good, maybe pop them in the freezer for some soups. They're full of minerals and nutrients. Ow, I just stuck my finger. Anyway, that's the garden tour. Kind of a little chaotic. Looks like one of my creeping times survived. This plant will just take over anything. I don't know that my flower survived, but there's just so much to do. It's so windy, it's kind of like there's no point to cleaning up because it's just gonna get messy again, but I do need to do the grass. I do need to shred these sticks. And while I have the extension cord out here, I might as well blow everything in its place. So this is the garden tour, kind of a little chaotic. I do have tons of plants in the basement, some of which are ready to go outside. Sorry for all the noise. We have a few fans running down here in the basement. But I wanted to show you my seed starting trays. I have 2 full trays of foxglove. I think that these are gonna make the most impact throughout all seasons in mostly my neighbor's yard. I would love to plant some self-seeding, is that the word? Self-sown plants. Anyway, these will not put on flowers this year, but I have some started out front that will, and we'll get to see what they look like. And then these will show plenty of blooms, I think, next spring or summer or fall. I don't even know when they flower yet. But I need to put my peas outside. They're like, why am I here? There's nothing, there's like no coolness. And this one's already wrapped around a nasturtium, so I might have to plant them together. Goodness gracious. Anyway, these nasturtiums need to go outside also. I have some weird mutant nasturtiums. Can you see these? They look insane. Very bizarre. I don't know if that's because they're all planted close together or what, but those came up way later. I have lots of tomatoes, just like this one's not gonna make it. But I have so many cherry tomato plants and a few cucumbers, probably 1 or 2 more than I need. I do need to, only a few of my tomatoes survived and they were kind of mass planted, so I split them out into individual cells, and these are a few I can plant into again. Up here we have a lot of basil, holy basil. Actually not holy basil, but wow, that's a lot of basil. These are a painted daisy, I think. That. Oh. Anyway, a couple cosmos. Yeah, a lot of these didn't take, so I have more cells to plant into. But I wanted to give you a little update of our seedlings. We haven't started a ton this year. It's already mid-April, and I feel like I want to start more seeds still, and that feels like a very late for me. That's that. I do have chard, doing well, and I don't know what some of these other things are. Definitely weeds. Looks like I got a lettuce here. I need to plant this. Anyway, yeah, it's a little chaotic, but an organized chaos, a beautiful chaos. I think I'll bring that styrofoam container in because the coldest nights are over. And maybe I'll give this area a good cleanup. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, that's this week's garden tour. Thanks for watching.
And one thing that I want to do later on today is begin to sort of rehabilitate my clogs. I don't think that's the right word. I guess, well, I want to sand, stain, and sort of polish the wood bases to my clogs and kind of clean the suede to a couple of my suede clogs. I have a leather pair that I had oiled in the past. I might not, it's possible I made a mistake doing that, but what's done is done.
These ones need to be glued back together. You can see the bases are a bit rough around the edges. I should probably get these to the cobbler to fix the bottoms. Oof. You know what? These might just need to go straight there. Oh, these got a crack in them too. I wonder if I should even try to fix these myself or just have him do it. These ones are not bad, but I need laces that fit them. I haven't worn these in years because the laces are not the right length. I don't know what size to get. These are new. These I've barely worn, but I think I'm gonna sand and stain the base of these. Maybe get them nice and clean up top. These I should throw away because they're kind of gross. These I should wash. They're pretty bad. Let me see. These are really dirty. How do you wash moccasins? I don't know. These rubber sole boots are my favorite to wear in the winter. I think I'm gonna take a little tool to these and get them cleaned up. Give them a good oiling. Even though I won't wear them for a while. The rest are just old duck boots. These are like snowshoes. Those are like rain boots. These are from the thrift store and they're kind of cheap. Naturalizers, they're just like old person shoes. I thought they were too cute to give up. Really good condition, almost new, barely worn. Just my size. They remind me of Daria. They're like kind of dorky. Anyway, that's my shoe collection. I have a couple pairs of clogs by the front door that also need some attention. Can't forget those. They are these. I'm just gonna sand these up. The bases are not too bad. That one's separating a little bit, but could probably give it some more time. I do want to clean them up. The other pair, I think I left them back here. These I need to brush and polish up the backs a little bit. But the bases are not in the worst shape. The front's a little torn up. Anyway, yeah, just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And fix up my shoes. One thing I wasn't sure if I should gatekeep this or not, but I stumbled across this app called Skeepers, Skeepers. If you have like 1,000 followers on social media, you pretty much qualify, I think, to apply. And you can redeem 5 credits at a time for free products when they're available for review. So I just got these in the mail today, completely free. This is like $30. This is probably more than that. And they just mail me stuff and I review it on Sephora, sometimes Ulta, sometimes a company website. And I don't have to post to social media, which is great. But I can try out a bunch of stuff I don't want to spend my money on, which has been the best part of my budgeting because I can still get stuff in the mail and I don't pay for it. So that's worth checking out if you're interested and if you have that type of leverage online. But yeah, I've been thinking about telling you about it for a while, but I wasn't sure if you cared. So there's that. I do sometimes Sometimes I get on with the products, sometimes I don't. If I have a use for it, I keep it and I utilize it. But if I have no use, I'll pass it on to someone I work with or know in life. So it's been fun. I've gotten a lot of stuff, like things I feel like I don't even deserve. I've gotten so much stuff through Skeepers. It's been really fun. All right, I'm gonna start polishing up my shoes now. Shoe update. I have glued the cracked wood. Thank you, Brian, for helping with the C-clamp. Stained. These look a little bit better, the wood bases. Polish them up. These ones I oiled, because I oiled them in the past. The suede ones I just brushed a little bit. These ones are tough to get clean. I think one day I'll just oil these and make them look a little more uniform. I don't know, whatever. Glued this crack. It was so small, I don't know if I could get enough wood glue in there to keep it. But oiled these. I love my Pond sandals. They're the best sandal. They fit your bunions so nice. They run really big. I wear a 7 and these are a 6 and they're still a little loose. But yeah, I'm more than halfway done. I have a couple pairs of shoes to work through, but I'm taking a break. It's time to cut the grass.
That's it for this week's episode of the Threadsmen podcast. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far into this week's video, let me know in a comment below with the nurse emoji, because nurses are our life's little angels on this earth. Because goodness gracious, do they do a lot. They do a lot. So very grateful to all you nurses out there and doctors, but mostly nurses, because they are generally the ones at the bedside helping the most. So thank you all again for watching. If you made it this far, let me know in a comment below. If you want to find me on social media, my name is Taylor E. Owen on Ravelry and Instagram. You can find me on TikTok as Taylor Knits, although I don't really even open the app anymore. I find myself on YouTube the most. I like to just scroll those shorts, you know? Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and that you take care.